Hello, and welcome to the Radical Fabulatorium. Okay, on today's episode, I am speaking with Adam and Kyle from Today Junior. They've got a brand new single and music video out there called Life on Mars. They're also going to be hitting the road this summer for a bunch of shows. So if you want to learn more about the band, I suggest you check out their link tree at Today Junior Music. That's at Today JR Music. It's also how you can find them on Instagram and other various social media websites. Yeah, this was a great chat. We cover a lot of ground. So without further ado, here we go, my chat with Adam and Kyle from Today Junior. All right, thanks a lot for coming on the show today, guys. I appreciate you trekking in here to give me some of your time.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Mm-hmm.
So Today Junior, you got a new single. I know people are going to hear this in the future, but you have a new single coming out tomorrow?
Yes, that's the plan. We're dropping a new one called Life on Mars.
Life on Mars, good title.
Yeah.
What inspired that title? That piqued my curiosity right away.
It kind of just came out of nowhere. So it was like, it's not even a lyric in the song. It was just kind of the feeling we had after making it. It's an older song, and actually one of the first ones we wrote as the four of us, kind of all together.
Okay.
And yeah, I just remember at the end of the session, I was like, we need to have a name for it so I can name the project. And I don't know if it was Adam or Brett. They're like, what about Life on Mars?
That's wicked.
We're like, sold.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was definitely Brett.
Probably Brett. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brett's idea?
Yeah.
So you said it's the first song you wrote together as a four-piece, like with everyone involved?
Yeah, like involved in the writing process.
Okay. How do you balance that? So, like, how does that come together? Considering it, so it was two people before, or maybe one songwriter before?
Yeah,
well, like sort of like the name or whatever, like it started as a solo thing back in 2017, but when I moved to St. John and like during COVID, it kind of like you just started the band and stuff like that. So it was sort of like we were just like learning the old songs, like playing those ones, and then once we kind of figured those ones out that we could create the old ones live, then we were like, well, let's start writing a bunch of new stuff, and everything since there has been more and more collaborative and more like group writing than just like myself. So yeah, the Life on Mars was one of the earlier tracks that we kind of did together, where we all kind of wrote a part vocally as well, not just like the music. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of like one of the beginning ones was that track.
Okay.
Or is that track? Yeah.
Yeah, because you mentioned before it was kind of like your solo project before. You had like a full length album that was out there, but now it's kind of
like it's gonna that will be at some point back up. Mm-hmm. It'll just be probably not as Today Junior, be something else. But yeah, that was sort of like the the ammunition and the gun to kind of get it going was like that for those first batch of songs. And then whenever we kind of like decided to like release it out there, like we shot a couple music videos, and it was just like didn't have anyone else's vocals or anyone else's parts on it, so it just didn't feel right. So we kind of were like, well, let's take that down for now and start fresh. So, and that's whenever Anything, our first like radio single, I guess, came out, was our first official track, all of us kind of tracking on it. But this Life on Mars is the one that is more like collaboratively written.
Okay, yeah. Got it. So so your solo project, Adam, you had that first album written and then you came across everyone else in the band, or you seeked them out?
Yeah, well, it was sort of like a little bit of column A, column B there. Like I had this record and I really, really liked it, and it was just a weird time, like from 17 to, like it was just like COVID was happening, a lot of things were changing. So I was just like, well, okay, I have these songs, and I kept showing friends, and everyone was like, this is really good, you should put it out. And I've just always been like a road dog, like playing shows and touring, so in other bands. So I was like, I don't want to put something out if I can't play shows and support it, right? Mm-hmm. So I sort of was like, just like, it'll never really come to life. But I just, I started living with Kyle and got to meet Brett through other friends, and Jillian wasn't even really in the picture yet, but we sort of like, they were like, these songs are great, but didn't realize that it was, going to be something that they could do with me. Mm-hmm. They were just friends. And then eventually we just kind of like, it all came together where I went on a little bit of a spiritual journey, let's say, and kind of, I called them up and I was like, what if you guys try to play these songs? And they listened right away and they were on board right away. So it was kind of like realizing that the band was with my friends that I had anyways. So it was kind of a cool beginning that way.
Okay. So it took a spiritual journey to kind of like, are we talking like ayahuasca?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I did.
Is that something you want to talk about? Or?
No, it's good. Like I did, Mother Ayahuasca, bless her. So yeah, I did this whole, like I did 2 years of it, and by the second year that I did it, it was like on the third day of the ceremony, I just kind of like had this. My grandmother just passed, so I was like, kind of like mourning her loss as well, and then kind of also I could see her in the ceremony, like as she passed, like, and kind of giving me guidance to be like, hey, you shouldn't stop doing music, even though everything seems against you right now. So kind of, yeah, I mean, it was she sort of started, like, came to me in ayahuasca, and then it made it all clear to me that I was like, kind of had to do it, you know what I mean? So then the next day I just was like, I gotta go home. I talked to the shaman. I was like, I gotta go home early because I gotta like get this off my chest. So on the drive away from the ceremony, I called up Kyle, called up Brett, and I was like, look, I seen it in ayahuasca ceremony, and what if you guys, what if we do a band from this? You know what I mean? So
because like prior to that ceremony, like me and Adam were living together, and so we were just jamming all the time, and we wanted to do something musically together, and we had loose ideas, and Brett would always be coming over and jamming with us, but we didn't quite have the full recipe on exactly what we were doing, what it was going to be, what the name was. And then so as soon as he left that, he called me and he's like, let's just put it all together. Let's take Today Junior. Let's start with that, make it the band, and just from there grow it. And as soon as I got that call, I was like, yes, like that makes perfect sense. Know what I mean? And right from there, he's like, okay, what do we need for equipment? Like, let's figure out everything we need to make this happen. And we just, since then, it's been go, 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 like nonstop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did that influence the genre bending too, or the genre blending, perhaps?
Oh, for sure. Like, yeah, I mean, it was like the core of this band. It's funny to even, like, this is the first time we've ever even probably said it, but it's like the core of the band is very spiritual. And it's like, because not just of like that journey that I was on, but it was like something that it was just in the air, something like a force that kind of brought us together. So because of that, like, there's similar things we like musically together, but there's also so many different things like hip hop and folk and punk rock, my background, and emo and like R&B and all the stuff that Kyle is,
house music and EDM in general.
Like so it was kind of like the spirit of it kind of brought all of it together, and that's why it's kind of like hard for people to put us in a genre, because it's like, like we'll go to a show and we'll play a show and someone's like, how do I even describe your band? And we're like, that's awesome. Like, it's kind of, like we don't really know what to describe it as.
They probably know better than us.
So yeah. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Does that spiritualness or spiritual vibe influence the songwriting in the sense of, like, do you feel like the music's coming to you or through you maybe, or is it more meticulous when it comes to the writing process?
Definitely a bit of both, but I'd say more through us. Like, all four of us are songwriters, between me, Adam, Brett, and Jillian, and we all have different influences, and so I think we're really good at kind of finding something out of nothing and just having ideas come to us out of nowhere. Like, sometimes we'll get together for practice and it's like, oh, we're gonna run through some songs and practice, but I might just play a little keyboard thing while everyone's warming up, and then Adam's like, whoa, keep that going. And then, like, next thing you know, it's 2 hours later and we have a whole song. Like, sometimes it just happens like that. Sometimes it's us taking time to sit down and be like, all right, let's write a song, or let's work on this idea and see if it goes somewhere. So we kind of just take it from anywhere it comes from for us. And luckily there's a lot of different sources we get inspiration from, and a lot of different ways we can get ideas and different formats. Like, sometimes it's me and Adam just together one night after work, and just naturally a song starts, or it's all four of us together. And for the
comes
music from all angles.
The music for sure. Like, but I definitely, for the lyrics, it's something that's come through us like almost 100% of the time. Whereas, like, a lot of the time we'll write lyrics to not fit the part, but like, we'll just like write lyrics to feel like, okay, just to get something to try out. And then a lot of the times, like later on we're like, oh, like this is actually what I was feeling, you know what I mean? So like a lot of the lyrics, it's like, what I like about this band is that we don't have to ever try to write lyrics. It's just like, we're like, oh, like we'll just, they just come through us. So I don't know, it's pretty spiritual in that way.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And that makes total sense that the lyrics, so you pump out the lyrics in the moment to kind of fill up the melody,
Yeah.
but then because you're not overthinking the lyrics, they turn out to be
What we were talking
appropriate.
about.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. How much does the production process influence the songwriting?
It definitely has a big influence. It kind of just starts. It depends on where the beat starts from a lot of the time, because sometimes it'll be a full beat that I just made myself and I bring it to the band. I'm like, hey, do you guys like this idea? And then we'll expand it from there. Maybe they'll have different ideas for the production, or sometimes it's just perfect how it is, and they write the lyrics and that's the song. But when we're writing together, there's definitely a lot more. Like we're all kind of producing it and doing the writing and like coming up with sound ideas, and yeah, so it's really flexible there.
Okay, the reason I asked that, because you listen to Fired Up and you listen to anything, and it's like I noticed the snare sounds and the hi-hat sounds. It's kind of what I picked up on, and I was kind of like, well, how do you narrow down those choices? Is it feeling, or is it, calculated?
Okay, definitely feeling.
Feeling?
Yeah, definitely feeling. Like we're very feeling based all over, even with the production. Coming from, I did a lot of R&B music production. That's more my background, and a lot of it can be very minimalistic, right? It's more about the feeling than filling in all the space with all this stuff to make it feel like it's something there. So I tend to lean more into that, and I think us as a band, we tend to lean more into that as well and focus just more on the feeling of it. Kind of like he even said with the lyrics, right? Sometimes it's just placement lyrics, but they feel right. And so it's like, okay, well, we don't got to change them. They were perfect already because they came from that place of feeling, and not like a meticulous thought process where it's like, oh, I need to deliver this message or the song's not right.
Yeah, and like even with the live show, like there's a lot more snare drum because it's like live drums for the live show. So there is a bit of a difference for that, but I kind of like that too with music, like how the live show sounds different than the recording. Kind of just brings it up for the live show. So a lot of that, like the snare and the hi-hat, it's a lot of the times it starts from the production of Kyle and the beats that he would sort of create. But we're trying to get more into like kind of morphing the two worlds together. But yeah, it's definitely 100% just about like feeling it, and then like figuring out the sounds after, I think. But or like at least the beginning of it is like a beat that he would just go on, and then if I play drums after it, then it's sort of like you learn things when we jam it for the first time. So.
Okay, so you kind of have to bridge the gap between the recorded sound or the production process, maybe convert it over to a live performance. Is that kind of part of the game?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of times, so we'll kind of write the song how we're going to do it live, and then almost like reverse engineer it for the studio side of it.
Okay.
Like even when I bring up beat, it's all kind of focused, like we'll set up as if we're performing live, and we'll write like that. And so we make sure it translates well in that space first, and then we focus on getting like backing tracks recorded or like doing the demos for it and all that stuff. That kind of comes secondary. Yeah. So we write to play live.
Okay. I think I would have assumed it was the other way around.
Yeah, I assume that's probably more typical for sure.
Yeah. Just based on the sound of the recordings, like the vibe, the R&B, electronic EDM vibes you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume that a lot of the writing happens in the box kind of thing. But that doesn't sound like the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's constantly evolving too. Like I'm sure we will have moments where like there's a lot of like I picked up the acoustic guitar again for the first time in a long time, and so start writing a song there and seeing how that can fit into the world that we're doing. So I'm sure that we'll be constantly changing how we're doing things. But yeah, I think it's really helpful because Kyle can just create beats so quickly, and a lot of the times when you're trying to write a new song or get a new idea with a band, you're like, where do you start, right? So it's kind of nice to have this right now as being the intro, and then the reverse engineering is kind of like when you play it live, you're like, oh, hear this and hear this. Yeah, I guess if something's released, it's kind of like, oh shoot, I wish I would have done that. But that's also the beauty in music. I think a lot of artists feel that whenever things are put out to the universe, they're like, a year later, they're like, I wish I would have did this, So it's kind of, Yeah, it's madness for sure. Yeah.
It's kind of a snapshot. I get this. I've put out music too. It's the same kind of thing. You put it out and then you listen a year later, like I could have done that. It's like you weren't that person a year ago, so actually you couldn't have done that.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You couldn't have done it back then.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah. So Kyle, you do the mixing too?
Yep.
Okay. Can we like zoom in on a couple mixing nerdy things?
Absolutely.
Okay. So one thing I noticed is like it's fired up. I believe it starts with like the hard pan vocals.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the keys.
Yep.
Keypads. One thing I thought was really cool is like in the beginning when it first kicks in, you can hear like the percussiveness of the keys. Mm-hmm. But then like later on the second verse, when everything else is going, like the percussiveness is gone from the keyboard sound.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like wondering how intentional those sort of like choices are and how they relate to the musicality.
Yeah, like as with the percussiveness of the keys, I'd say it wasn't like super intentional, maybe more like subconsciously. Basically what I did there is like in the intro when the keys are playing without anything else, like there's no, I don't have an EQ on it, maybe just in a certain spot, but when everything else comes in, there's an EQ setting that goes on the keys to make more room for everything else.
Okay.
So when everything else isn't playing, you can hear a bit more of that percussiveness, but then it comes out when the full mix comes in, just so that other transients in the mix can breathe better.
Okay, so you're kind of like clearing out the high end for everything to sit on top of it?
Yeah,
Is that kind of what's going on?
Yeah, it's just basically filtering it, taking some of the lows and the highs out when everything else comes in.
Yeah.
And then when it kicks out into like the pre-chorus where there isn't the drums and the bass in it, that EQ setting comes off and it opens up and then it closes again as the chorus comes in and the beat drops.
Okay.
Yeah, we originally had that like the first and second verse were the same, sort of like the same drum beat and same sort of thing, and then we decided to the second verse just to have the kick, with the vocals. So I think too that kind of like switched it up a little bit, where it's like Kyle said, to kind of let it breathe a little bit. Mm-hmm. So when it comes back in, it really that percussive sound really hits. So yeah.
Yeah, and cool. I think a lot of it came from, like, when I was first starting to mix it, I was like, oh, I like the keys here at the start, and I like that. But when it dropped, it started annoying me, the kind of percussiveness of it. So I kind of just mix to annoyance. Like, when something feels annoying to me, or it's, like, catching my ear, it's like, I shouldn't notice that, right? It should go unnoticed, and that's how you know it sounds good. So it's like, okay, well, this is picking out my ear, let's fix that. But I like it here, so let's leave it how it is there. And a lot of those, like, subtle choices are definitely important in a mix. Sometimes people over mix and they're trying to mix a problem that isn't even there, and yeah, it can bring more problems, right?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Like, how do you know you've gone too far, or how do you know when there's too much? Mm-hmm. How do you?
It can be a hard thing to gauge. One thing that I do is definitely, I'll do a lot of A/B testing. Like when I have an effect on, I'll make sure I gain stage it properly, so when I turn that effect off, it's staying at the same volume. Mm-hmm. I can hear true A/B of what that effect is doing, and just going and muting tracks, muting effects, seeing if it's taking the feeling away, right? Sometimes you got to go back and just double check your work a bit and be like, if I turn all this off, is it making a big difference? Like, okay, no, it's not. Maybe I don't need it there in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think gain staging is a good lesson actually for listeners, because you can apply a plugin or an effect and you think it sounds better, but really it's just making things sound louder.
It's just making it sound louder.
It's a classic problem, maybe.
Yeah. I remember way back when I first started mixing, watching a video where there's an engineer and he's like, all right, which do you think sounds better? It was a guitar take. And he showed one and then he showed another. I was like, oh, B definitely sounded better to me. And he's like, all I did is I just turned up the volume on the second one. And so it showed, it's like when things are louder, you'll think it sounds better. Yeah. Right. And it's like you said, plugins can add gain. And so it's not the effect that's making it sound better. It's just that it's louder.
Yeah.
And when you gain stage it and you mash the volume, you realize, oh, actually, it's not making it sound better. It just was louder. And I thought it sounded better because of that.
Okay. Yeah, that's very true. That's a good lesson for everyone to kind of hone in on, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you do any production, Adam?
No. Like, I mean, I'll come up with drum ideas and that, but no, like no mixing or engineering or anything like that.
Okay, that's Kyle's domain.
I'd like to, but I'm just a dumb drummer.
Every drummer seems to be like self-deprecating.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a drummer and bass player self-deprecation team.
Yeah. And like I'm also a singer in the band too, so it's double like self-deprecating.
So you're a songwriting, singing drummer.
Yeah.
You're like a band's worst nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
I'm just kidding.
No. You're onto something there.
One thing I like too and fired up is there's this tension. I'm going to get a little nerdy again too, or nitpicky if that's all right.
Yeah.
There's kind of this tension that I feel like, I could be wrong, correct me of course if I'm wrong, from the bass line, because sometimes like the chord changes on the keys, and I think maybe there's a little bit of guitar going on, but they seem to land on like the downbeats. Mm-hmm. But the bass line sometimes is like an 8th or 16th note ahead of the chord change. And then and there's even one section near the end, I think, where like sometimes it comes back to the 1, but the bass note hits a different note before it goes to the root. Mm-hmm. Mm. I have to imagine some people stumble across that stuff, and sometimes it's really intentional. So I was just kind of wondering, was that planned? Did you know you were doing that tension, or was it?
I think like that Fired Up, you said, right?
Fired Up.
Yeah, like that. I think that was one of the songs that was supposed to be on that first record that we were talking about.
Okay.
And it never made it. It was like a demo that another like friend of mine and I wrote. So he wrote that bass, that part. Mm-hmm. So I think once we did the track, it was like I couldn't unhear it.
I created it 1-to-1 as it was originally made, and so it was.
Yeah, that's like an old demo thing, and then it was just like, as I remember that, we were like, oh, it's kind of a weird thing, but couldn't unhear it after.
Like, had to be that way kind of thing? Yeah. So I've run into that problem in studios too before, kind of like where someone's playing, kind of just what I said, I guess. Someone's playing the chord changes exactly where you would expect them on the ones or the downbeats.
Yeah.
And then the bass line or something else is happening on the up. So they're technically like out of sync, or if you want to think about it that way.
Yeah.
But it adds this feeling. And then if you change it so everything's on the same downbeat, the magic is kind of gone.
Yeah. Totally.
So that's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, I do really like that. Like, it's funny we talk about that because I forgot about that. I'm like, that is on the offbeat, but or the downbeat, whatever. But it's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And same with the reverb. Like, I like how sometimes like the vocal will stop and you kind of get that reverb swell.
Yeah.
But there's some pre-delay going on, so like I'm assuming you took the time to kind of sculpt the space so it didn't just get washed right away.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then swelling it and just sidechaining it so that when the vocals are coming down, it's adding more reverb.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it sidechained into like a compressor or like a?
It's just a compressor that's linked to the vocal and linked to the reverb, so that every time the vocal's coming in and the decibel level of that's going up, the level of the reverb's going down, and then as a vocal goes quiet or there's quiet moments where there's no vocals at all, the reverb's turning up to add more in those empty spaces.
Okay.
It just makes it so that it'll clash a bit more. You can get longer tails with the reverb that way without it becoming all muddy or washed out.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. So instead of doing like a level automation, you let the compressor kind of do its musical thing?
Yeah, it's just reacting to it. It's actually a peak controller, so it's not so much a compressor, it's more just like trying to think of the word. It's just a volume fader that's reacting to it.
Okay. Do you have a go-to plugin for that? Do you mind sharing that?
I use FL Studios, and so it's Fruity Peak Controller. It's one right in the DAW. There's a few other ones I'll use for other stuff. I'll use Pro C a lot by Fab Filter.
Oh, nice. Fab Filter's solid.
Oh, yeah. Fab Filter's amazing, yeah. But the Peak Controller, it's super easy and quick to set up in FL Studios.
Okay.
And it's not doing so much compression, right? It's just a volume fader. So it's just adjusting the volume as it goes.
Okay.
So it's a bit more transparent than doing it with a compressor where it's actually compressing the sound, and a compressor, it's literally just a volume fader going up and down.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe we should let listeners know, like a compressor kind of like loud sounds become quiet, but quiet sounds kind of become louder, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like a volume knob is literally just...
It's just the volume going up and down, yeah.
Okay. That's cool. FL Studio, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That used to be Fruity Loops?
Yep.
Okay. That's cool. Or maybe it's still called Fruity Loops.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for entertaining that nerdiness.
Absolutely. I'm a nerd myself, so I love it.
What about so Brett's rap? I'm going to jump around here just because I'm just going to selfishly ask you questions that I'm curious about. Brett's rapping on Anything. Mm-hmm. So when that first came on, I heard that tune just a couple weeks ago, really, and then I was expecting like some sort of lead in the bridge section, I'll call it, and then the rap came on, and I thought, damn, that's like instead of a guitar solo, there's this rap here, and it like sits in the exact same space that I feel like a lead would sit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Do you have anything to add to that? I'd just like to know how that kind of came to be.
Yeah, I don't know where that decision came from. Like, honestly, it was probably just feeling based, where we're like, because Brett's an incredible rapper, and like you'll definitely see more of that going forward. But yeah, it was just, we want him to rap at some point in that song, and we're like, what about the bridge? And then he came in and he did his thing there, and we're like, oh, that's perfect. And we didn't question it, and that was, it's definitely very feeling based. It just felt right to have it there, and he did it perfectly, so it's like no questions were asked.
He's just like, yeah, let it be.
Yeah.
Also, like Fired Up would have been, well, from that first batch of like Fired Up was basically written like without the band, like pre-band, right? So anything was done, with all of us. So it was kind of like when Brett started, it was like I kind of just wanted him to do like background vocals, like be a hype man, like kind of just sing with me, doing like lead stuff, harmonies and stuff. But we're just like, man, he's such a good rapper, and so it's like that was like, why don't we just put him on that part, and then it absolutely crushed it. So now we're like, you're gonna see a lot more of Brett rapping on a lot of our songs, because we're like, we realized it was such a big part now of our sound. So that kind of was like that little introduction in the bridge. Everyone always talks about that because they're like, you don't expect it, but then when it happens, you're like, we only get one chance to do that in our career, and so it's kind of cool to have him coming the first time in the bridge.
Yeah, and that kind of connects back to Life on Mars, because Life on Mars was the first song that we wrote that we had Brett rap in it. Because we actually wrote Life on Mars quite a bit ago. That's the new single we have coming out here. And it was the first one where he tried rapping on it. We're like, why don't you just try something? And that's why it was,
verse.
Yeah, it was like, and that's why that song was kind of a pivotal moment for us as writers, because it, slowly and slowly you figure out the recipe more and more, and you hone it in. And that was one big move. Like, we heard Brett rap, and there's a bit of back and forth that Jillian and Adam do in Life on Mars. Like, those little things have become pivotal to our writing process. And Life on Mars was a song that made us figure that out.
Okay.
And there, the three-headed dragon is born.
Yeah, I call it the three-headed dragon, right? Because we got Adam, Jillian, and Brett, and it's like every producer's dream, right? Because I get to produce a male singer, female singer, and then a rapper.
Yeah,
and all together, and they're doing harmonies and all this fun stuff, right? So it's triple-headed dragon.
That's awesome. I was going to ask about that. Yeah, so there's three vocalists. Yeah. And that kind of adds to the all the timbres or all the tones kind of like sync up nicely, really, when you're listening to it.
Yeah, they all have very different voices too, right? Yeah. So it's like they fit together well, and they don't clash, and
they kind of like they augment each other, build each other up, or however you want to think about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so Brett rapping was kind of a surprise or like unexpected.
Well, we knew he could rap, but we didn't think it would be on a Today Junior song.
Okay.
We never pictured it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. We just didn't see it yet.
Didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
But once he did it, it was like, oh,
give me more of that.
Yeah, give me more of that. Like,
I just want to play drums. Like, just come on.
Gotcha.
Like,
so does that mean you're live, Adam? You're playing drums and singing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you call yourself the front man as well? Like, is that your responsibility?
No. Like, I'm the back man, I guess. Technically,
back row man.
Yeah. No. I mean, like, there's a lot of obviously the first batch of songs were all just me singing a lead the whole way through, but now that's not the case. But there is moments where I will front a song. There's moments that Jillian will. There's moments that Brett will. So it's it's kind of a comfortable place to be, because it's I'm playing drums, and if I don't have a part where I'm singing a lot, I'm still busy doing something. So
okay. Maybe we could talk about how Jillian came in the band a little bit. If I'm not mistaken, she was a folk artist.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't really get that impression when you listen to Today Junior.
No, yeah. Like I used to play in another band. We were doing a show at a venue in town, and she happened to be in the crowd. I didn't even know who she was. And at the time, the band I was playing with didn't have a female singer in it. So after the show, she came up to the singer in that band and was like, hey, like, I can sing in your band. Like, I want to, do vocals. And he was like, no, we don't need you. Like, and I was just like, like, because going back to the spiritual journey with ayahuasca, like, I saw Kyle in the picture of it. Okay. I saw Brett in the picture of it. I saw female, because this whole project is really based on like a female presence, because it's my grandmother, Mother Ayahuasca. It's all like the beginning of it is a female presence. So it's like, I saw that, but it was like blurry in this vision. So I didn't see Jillian, but I kind of saw Jillian not clear yet. getting too much down the rabbit hole here. But
I like rabbit holes.
Right. But the thing is, whenever she talked to the other singer about like joining the band and he kind of dismissed it, I was like, well, actually, I've got this new thing I'm starting up, and I'm Adam. Nice to meet you. Got this new starting up. Would you like to come and try some vocals? So that's how it kind of started, like with getting to know her. But she was obviously from a acoustic folk background.
Uh-huh.
So whenever we actually, I remember her and I got together, just the two of us, and she was like, I don't know about this. Like, it's like all the demos were like electronic. So she's like, this isn't my wheelhouse at all. And I remember, I was like, well, 1 second. And I called Kyle up and I was like, could you come down here and play piano? And then we just started singing all the same things that we tried to sing together before with just a piano. And it was like bread and butter right away. Okay. So, yeah.
And I've known Jillian forever. I grew up with her older brother. We were best friends growing up. So I've known Jillian for probably like 15, 16, 17 years now. So when I found out she was getting brought aboard, I was like, oh, like that's great. I knew she was a great singer, and I already had a connection with her. So I was really excited about it. And yeah, after that practice, we did just the keys and the two vocals, and she got a bit more confident with it. I think she seen that she could do it. Totally. And then we kind of just went from there, and she's been growing and growing and growing. And now it's like, yeah, you'd never imagine, you know what I mean? And, it's something she's really proud of. Like we've all grown a lot. We've all pushed each other to grow like that. And that's probably one of the greatest things about this band. We're also different from when it first started.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So it's like a learning journey too, experience.
Well, and it's just a collective too. Like it's based on the entity of, like, Today Junior's a thing, and then we're the players, and they're not the same world. Like we collide a lot, obviously, but like that's why there's no beauty in having a front man. It's like all of us are like, front room and front man. Like we're all filling in that spot. So it's like it's really cool to to meet Jillian and be like, I don't know what it means yet, or what she can add to it, but the really beautiful part is that it's always growing, and it's always, she's becoming stronger and becoming more into her role, and it definitely has an influence of folk in it for sure, but she's opening this other side of her brain that she never thought she could open before. So it's awesome.
And you mentioned female energy in the group. Like what makes female energy like change music, or like what do you mean precisely by that?
I think it's just like I've always growing up. I grew up with a sister, and I was always always in touch with my feminine side, like the drama club and stuff. I like doing stuff that little boys would do as well. But I always loved to hang out with my sister, and like Backstreet Boys, and all. Like I kind of like always loved this sort of like feminine side of being a man. You're right, without going too down that road, but like it definitely. I don't know. I just always felt it with my songwriting and anything I liked in music. A lot of like my favorite pop artists are females. A lot of my favorite artists are females. So I kind of just, I don't know, always felt it, that it needed it. And I feel like, again, with the spiritual side of it, with ayahuasca, like Mother Ayahuasca, it's like she's this beautiful thing, and it's stronger than any sort of thing, So it's kind of like I felt that in this music. I think for this band to be what it needs to, what we want it, not what we want it to be, what it should be, is like a big part is having that energy in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked that kind of because like I personally, a couple of years ago, I kind of had this switch flip in my brain, and all of a sudden I was really drawn to female-oriented music.
Yeah.
So I kind of relate with what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Because I came from like heavy metal, punk rock, a lot of just aggressive energy, even though that was never really who I was as a person. That's just what I was attracted to.
Yeah.
But then actually, I think it was Lights. You probably know the singer-songwriter Lights.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
I just saw her perform once on YouTube, and just like bloop, it just like flipped a switch, and then I just kind of became obsessed with like female artists, female music.
The thing is too about Lights and about like Drain. Like there's a bunch of bands that have like, or Scowl, excuse me, not Drain. There's Scowl. Like there's a lot of like hardcore bands and punk bands that have like these female singers, and you're like, man, this goes way harder than the guy singing. Like, so it's like there is so much power in women vocals and woman energy.
Yeah,
it's just like we don't know what we're messing with sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It makes me think of Fuck the Facts. Do you know that band?
Yeah,
Their
exactly.
singer Mel is like off the charts.
Like, there's strong forces there. So we gotta use that to our
Absolutely,
advantage.
Yeah.
I saw them play a show. She was pregnant with their first kid, I think. Anyway, she was like 4 or 5 months pregnant. Just giving her. I was like, holy shit, that is so intense.
Yeah.
That's sick.
We, I guess a little bit of exclusive. We haven't announced yet. We're opening up for a July talk in September.
Okay.
And, like Leah, the singer, she's ready to pop right now. Like she's up there on stage, like jumping around, and like, it's pretty awesome.
That's wild. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
That kid's going to have some energy too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. That's really cool. All right. Maybe we could go. One thing I thought, I heard this story through the grapevine, I guess, but like a lot of bands, we'll just totally switch gears here. A lot of bands have like the classic like van breakdown story.
Oh yeah.
And so I did come across the story that you guys like have already experienced. Usually that's something like a band when they've been through a couple tours and they're like halfway across the country and then their van breaks down. But I heard like a inkling that you've already kind of experienced a van breakdown.
Yeah,
and,
I don't know what it means, if that's like a curse, but
I think it's good to get it out of the way early, to be honest.
Could be it.
Yeah. Like you're not in Regina, you're not like in Moose Jaw or something.
Yeah, we're choosing to look at it that way, for sure. Because oh man, well, I just like bought a van and I had to go to PEI to get it, and she was like, "There's something wrong with the engine, but it's fine." You know, I had a mechanic look over it. This is the person who's selling it to me.
Okay. Yeah.
I was like, okay, you know, and I brought a friend, and my friend was like, "Oh man, this is the bones to this van's really good, like the outside and everything." So like, you know, the engine stuff you could figure out, and I'm like, well, I don't know. So yeah, so we drove it off the island, and we got across the bridge, and like maybe 10 minutes after that, it was just all of a sudden smoke, and then just basically like the oil whatever rod broke, and all oil just went all over the road. And
no way. So you're talking full on like not
full
just
on.
engine light pull over.
Oh yeah, no,
like up in smoke.
Holy moly, yeah.
So
Okay.
and that was like, we haven't even played a show in it, right? So so if you know any mechanics out there, we need help.
Yeah.
So you still have the van?
We still have
It can-
After an $800 tow job, we got it in our yard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I spent all this money on this van, and we haven't even used it.
Wow.
So it's kind of like, but it's not going to stop us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like an MBCC project.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Reach out to the school and be like, hey, you guys got some students that want to
Oh man, that's
work
a
on
great
this?
idea.
It's funny. Then Jillian suggested that, I think.
You should do
saying
that.
reach out to KV High, but
Yeah, no, well, MBCC, I know I went there a few years ago, and I've reached out to them for like different, when like they do marketing projects too. So sometimes the students need to do a little marketing write-up or something. And I've done that in the past. And they're always usually...
If you got to connect, well, definitely.
it's worth a shot.
yeah, I know someone you could email. I don't know if they would put you in the right place, but I do have one.
That'd be awesome.
I do know one person you could direct.
I'll get it towed here.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
Because you can't drive it here.
Yeah.
Well, so the reason I brought that up too is like it's good to talk about adversity, right? Like a lot of bands and artists, there's so much adversity involved. So it's interesting hearing that story right away, or I would say early in your career, right? I would probably influence some folks to just kind of walk away from it, or be like, "This is if this is how it's going to go, I don't know if I want to do this."
Yeah.
I think adversity is a big part of this band in general. There's another story that we always joke about. We call it the Great Flood. Okay. And this is back when we first started trying to do Today Junior. This was us learning all of the songs of his original project. The first time we tried to play as a band, and we were playing in the basement of the apartment building that we lived in. It was like an unfinished basement, and this is like 3 weeks into doing this. We're as fresh as it gets, and we just got probably about like $8,000 worth of new gear to make this all happen. And there's a massive rainstorm, and we're upstairs, and the water starts flooding in the back door, and we're like, oh no, that's not good. And I stood there for a minute, and I was like, where's the water going? I was like, it's going to the basement. And so I run down to the basement, and the whole basement's flooding. Like it's a pool of water, at least like half a foot to a foot. And so me and Adam start freaking out. We're like, oh no, we're like unplugging stuff, getting shocked. Like we pretty well rescued everything except for, I think there's like 1 or 2 guitar pedals that had got broken, but it was like a couple $100 worth of damage, like nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
And we just put down like 7-8K on that gear. Like it was a lot of money. It was like everything we had to kind of put into that.
Yeah.
And then here was like, you know, having it for maybe a couple weeks, and then all of a sudden we go downstairs and it's all underwater, and we're like, oh my god. So yeah, we did luckily, you know, again that roadblock, you know, we kind of were like, well, you know,
we're like, all right, well, let's find another place of practice. And then we kept going.
Yeah, when the van happened, when it blew up, I was like, well, you know, like I've been in bands too that have toured. Like I've toured all over before with other bands, and I've had vans break down and stuff like that. So I've kind of a little bit had that too, like being like, oh, it's, you know. But I know what you mean. Like it can stop people like from wanting to do the thing. But I think because of the Great Flood and because of that, like everything that's all odds. Like I don't want to be like all odds have been against us, but like a lot of odds have been against us to make this thing work, and it just makes us stronger. Like resilience is kind of like a big key ingredient in this thing for sure.
It's kind of like, it makes me think of like a yin and yang sort of thing a little bit, because like you have these adversities, these tough situations, like a busted van and potentially losing thousands of dollars of gear. But at the same time, as a new band, you've had some pretty solid opportunities.
Yeah.
So is it kind of like balancing it out a little bit?
Yeah. Absolutely. And sometimes I'd like to think, you know, that's the universe rewarding us for being resilient and not stopping, right? Because we could have stopped right there and we wouldn't have got any of those opportunities. Yeah. Right? So it's sometimes, you know, sometimes when you ask the questions or when you go through the tough stuff, that's when you get the answers. And you got to be okay with that and take the blows as they come.
Again, this is very spiritual thing with this band that drives it. So, because it's like, you won't really appreciate the good moments unless you experience the bad ones, right? If everything was just good all the time, it's like this. It's like if right away there was no issues, no problems, and every show we did was sold out, and everywhere we went, everyone came to it, and we had one bad show, we'd break up because all we would know is good. Yeah. Life's not that way. It's like you need to have the bad to know the good. So whenever you have the good and something bad happens, you're like, well, I got to keep going, right? So I look at all those bad things as blessings. You know what I mean? Not during the moment, obviously, but in the end, I'm like, hey, you know, we need those to keep us grounded. Really.
Yeah. We laughed the next day about the van. Maybe not the day it happened, but we were laughing the next day.
Yeah, like exactly the next day.
The next day.
Quick recovery. Got to get back up and fight.
Yeah. Do you guys ever feel pressure from the buzz you get that you've been getting, like, I don't know what the right word is, like quickly, or you know what I mean? Do you ever feel that, or you just kind of roll with it?
I think that we're so hungry at this point where it's just such a new band that we're already like not thinking that we're not getting what we should get, but we're like, hey, you know, we should already be trying to push this. We should already be trying to work hard at this part of it. We're constantly going forward. So I think like you don't really feel the it's more like an internal pressure of us just wanting to do the best that we can versus pressure from the outside of being like, oh, we got to keep this going. I'd say, I know me personally, I definitely don't ever feel that way. We're very focused, we're like a family, right? So the four of us, we're very focused on just us being happy with this and us being happy with the songs and us being happy with the outcomes. So we push each other that way, but we tend to not let very much outside influence affect us when it comes to that. It's also too like not Kyle was saying it, but like we're all like that. Like Brett, like I remember when we got the Moonlight Bazaar gig, we were like, okay, we're gonna play Moonlight Bazaar. There's thousands of people in town for that. Like they close the streets down. You're not playing to 200 people, right? So we're like, okay, you know, what we didn't expect to play at that time slot we were like, we're going to play at like lunchtime, and it's going to be like, you know, kids in their strollers and like clowns. It's not going to be like what it was. And then all of a sudden they're like, you're playing at 10 at night. We're like, oh, okay, that I've been to Moonlight Bazaar, and there's thousands of people that are like, you can't move in those streets. Yeah. So I was like, man, this is like our like fifth show or whatever it was. Like, I'm like, Jillen's never been in a band. Brett's never been in a band. Kyle's been like DJing, but never been in a band. So I'm like, man, these guys are all going to become like ego monsters because of this show. I'm like, this is like, and then literally the show happens. They're like, oh, so should we get pizza after? Or like it just didn't phase any of them. They were just like, and I was like, man, okay, that is beautiful, because like you don't usually see that. As soon as somebody claps for you, right, this ego monster is born. So it's like, to see that all in that way is like, okay, this is huge, like super powerful. So I think coming to those opportunities where we're, you know, opening up for bigger bands or whatever, it's, the nerves aren't there, because it's like they're just so, I'm not to speak on all of them, but they just seeing that, I was like, man, at least they're really grounded, and that's like beautiful to see.
Ego monster. I mean, you're not wrong. That's a good way to put it. You get that ego monster.
Yeah. And there's good ego and bad ego, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It's, and you know, I think the monster would be the bad part, where it's like, you know, you get that first clap, right? Someone claps for you, and you're like, oh, well, everyone should clap for me, you know? And it's like, you know, so I don't know. So you mentioned you were in bands before, Adam? Did you experience any of that with your previous projects, and you brought that experience into this project? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Pretty much all of them. Like, I mean, I love all the old bands I was in and stuff, but it was, I mean, we're all younger too, right? That's also being young and like doing it. You got more like pep in your step, but like, yeah, this has been the first band where I've never experienced any sort of ego at all. Like, it's really, really odd. And I always think that it's going to change, but it just doesn't exist. And I think that's because, you know, everyone is so stoked on the thing instead of just like what they're doing. Like the best songs happen is whenever we're like, you're wrong on something. So if I have an idea and I'm like, oh, I feel this, and then the answer is you're not right on that, and you're stoked still, like that's the beauty in it.
Yeah, it's like one thing I'll say I see in all four of us, I definitely see that, like, we get our high from the creative process and not from the final product being appreciated. We all love writing music together. It's like getting to do the thing with your best friends, right? So we're already getting what we want out of this. And so, you know, that's the high for us out of it, right? Once we get that, we're satisfied, and we're okay with not being right and being flexible on ideas for the greater good of the song. Like, that's where we're all focused on. And so I think it blocks out a lot of the ego monster when you're concentrated on that, because it's all about the creative process, right? If you're not having fun creating the music and doing it with the people that you're doing it with, then it doesn't matter what you have at the end of the day or how good the product is.
Yeah, and I think like ayahuasca showed me these people, you know, and like, and I think it's because ayahuasca, a big part of it is the ego death, and sort of like, you know, letting everything go of everything that you feel like you know, when you think you have your stuff together, you don't, you know. And I think like, exactly, you get a brand new van and it blows up right away. You're like, well, you got this new van. Well, you don't, right? It's got to keeps it leveled out. And I think too, like, it's just at the end of the day, it's silly songs we're singing. Like, it's not that serious, and I think we always kind of know that. So I think because of that, we're just like, oh, you know, no one's gonna like, you know what I mean? But the healthy ego of it would be like, when we do find something that works, we're like, this is awesome. And yeah, so yeah, it's I think in life in general, that's a big way that you know, you should live. Yeah.
Is there a difference between ego and being confident when you know you've hit something, or you found something maybe?
Well, there's like the good ego and the bad. I remember watching this podcast, and I forget what it was, but somebody was saying, like, it's like you see the Jumbotron, right? And like, you know, you're a football player and you're in a stadium, and you're like, you're looking at the Jumbotron, you see your face on the Jumbotron, but now all of a sudden you keep looking, you're like, oh, well, what's my face looking like? Oh, like, am I still on that Jumbotron? Like, that's the negative ego, because you're constantly looking at this thing being like, well, I'm more concerned about like the winning and being the face. But then all of a sudden you're not working on your art, working on your craft. But if you look at that Jumbotron, you go, oh, I'm on the Jumbotron, and be like, okay, I'm not good enough yet. I got to keep going. That's a healthy ego.
Yeah, you're focused on the inside. You're not focused on the outside reaction. You're focused on the inside.
Not that you don't notice that Jumbotron, but you're like, whatever, I'm on to the next thing. I want to keep going. How am I going to stay on that Jumbotron? Well, you're going to keep working on your thing, which is a healthy ego. So yeah, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but like, yeah. Yeah.
No, yeah, it makes sense. It's kind of at odds with the social media, whatever it is now, right now. Like people would create a post just to see the little red dots appear on the hearts, and when they refresh their feed, see how many likes they got.
Oh yeah.
And then they start chasing the engagement versus the creative output.
And then they stop caring of the actual photo they posted. Like, they're more concerned about what the reaction is. Yeah, that's unhealthy ego, but because the only unhealthy part is that they're losing focus on why they even did the post in the first place.
Yeah, that's where it can be dangerous, right? When you focus too much on people's reaction to the final product and you're really focused on that can make you make changes to your creative way, the way that you create, right? You'll start making different decisions based off you thinking about what other people are going to think about what you're doing. And so it'll change how you move, right? Whereas if you're just focused internally on making yourself be proud with it and like you being confident with it and making something that you're like, hell yeah, I'm happy with this. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Then it's, you'll grow your creative path and like how you create that way versus destroying it because of other people's opinion.
Which ultimately holds a lot of artists, not just artists, but a lot of people back, a lot of creatives back, because they get caught up in that world and then they just become less productive, And it's also like we're at practice and we're writing and things like that, and we'll never talk about like like how many people are going to be at the things. The only time we ever do that is if we're putting the show on ourselves and we're like, are we selling enough tickets to cover the bill? That's the only time. Besides that, we're never like, I wonder if our fans are going to like it or our friends are going to like it. We've never had those conversations, because if we did, then it's like we're wasting time here. We're like, Jones got to work in the morning. It's like we got to write music. So it's like, I think that's really, really, really powerful, and something that if we always keep it that way, we'll keep growing. You know what I mean? We don't want to get stuck in one moment and be like, okay, this is the moment, right?
Yeah, I'm always fascinated by the combination, like when the arts world combines with the business world, and we're kind of like loosey-goosey talking about that, like because in the perfect world, the artist makes a living off their art, but then at the same time, the business, you don't want the business to negatively influence the art to the point where you kind of like what we're talking about, you kind of expect engagement and expect reactions.
Yeah.
So how do you guys, and I know you have a management team, right? Or a manager?
Yeah.
Yep. So is that maybe part of the game, is to like unload that business pressure to a different person?
Or like at least guidance, like have help with it. Like it's a weird thing, because again, with the ego thing, it's like every artist, at least around New Brunswick or like the Maritimes, in Canada, and really anywhere, is like, not just local, but like everywhere, it's not designed to make money unless you're like in that percentage that you're huge and you're selling tickets around the world. So most bands are designed to not make money at it. So it should that like, by that account, ego shouldn't exist, because you're like, man, we're all broke and yada yada yada. But that's the problem too, is like, that's why a lot of it doesn't grow, because you do need money to do things. And it's a tough business, because you're only going to make money after a certain point. And so having people like management and stuff, it is helpful, or at least guide you to the right things that you wouldn't know as a musician.
And lighten the load a bit too, right? Having them focus on more of that business stuff for us, it allows us to just focus more on our creative process, and that way it's not taken away from that part, but we're still doing everything as a band we can to make this happen for us.
Yeah, it's tricky, eh? It's tricky balancing those two worlds.
Yeah.
Adam, thinking about your older bands, did you run into those issues where like the business and the art didn't quite?
Well, we never, like most of my other bands, like I had one band that was signed to like a major record label, Network Records out of Vancouver, and we didn't even have a manager at that point. So we had a major label release, and anyways, and then it's like we didn't have any guidance, right? So it's like, at the time I had a good job, I was working for a bank, so I ended up like covering all the fronts of the, but ultimately lost so much money because I didn't have any guidance and didn't have anyone else to help. So yeah, I've definitely lost a lot of money doing it for not knowing what I'm doing. So yeah,
another lesson.
Yeah. Still am losing money.
Still losing money?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a kind of like, I remember Michael Beinhorn. I don't know if you know that producer. He's done records for like Soundgarden and Chili Peppers and
okay, yeah, I know who you mean.
Korn
yeah.
and Marilyn Manson stuff. He's got a cool book. What's it called? I highly recommend it, but I'll have to look it up after. But it's a great book. I read it a couple times already. But he said something like, he's like, I don't know why artists expect to get paid. And he was talking about like people that have the ability to output art from completion, from a little nugget of an idea to releasing something that affects people.
Yeah,
it's like yeah, we're in this capitalism system now, but like you have this gift. Like, why should you be even paid for it? Like, you already have this gift that's special that a lot of people won't ever experience. So why do you even think you should be paid for it? And he's way better at explaining it that way because he's, you know what I mean. But I thought it was an interesting approach. Is like. Yeah, I guess so. Like,
well, I think really helpful for anybody doing what we're doing is give everything you got, but expect nothing. So it's like you're gonna, like, if you have the idea that you're gonna go and put out records, you're gonna play shows, you're gonna travel, you're gonna do all these things, and you might do all that and it doesn't work and you get nothing out of it, right? So if you go in the attitude that, give everything and expect nothing, when you do get something, it's enough fuel in the tank to keep you going.
Yeah. And even too, going back to how, the ego can affect your creative process when you're focused on, the people clapping at the end of the song. It's the same as money. If you're making decisions based off, oh, I think this will make me money, or I think this will make me money, that too can affect the creative process because you'll start moving differently there. And so it can never be the main focus. You gotta, it's like you gotta walk and expecting nothing out of it. Like if you're okay, like if someone could predict your future right now and tell you you're never going to make a cent off music, it's never going to go that direction for you, but you're still not changing a single thing you're doing, and you're like, doesn't matter, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. That's kind of the mindset you got to walk into it with.
Yeah, like I won't give you the number, but we're thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. We're not going to make money for a long time. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, you're going into it being like, hey, like, expect to do so much for nothing.
Yeah, it's a
not
business,
to say that'll be like
right?
forever, but you know what I mean? That's where we are now.
Yeah.
And because we want to keep the thing going. So
yeah, I mean, it's just like a business, right? Like, you don't start a business and expect to be making profit a couple months later, right? There's going to be a period that you're going to be under, and you're going to have to build up to that. You may never build up to that. You may stay under, right? So it's, that's part of it, right?
yeah.
Well, there's kind of an interesting thing happening right now in music where, like, have you heard the band Angine the Poitrine?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone talking about them?
Yeah.
Like, that's the wildest shit ever. And it's like, it's catching a wave somewhere, and it's connecting with people somehow.
Yeah.
And like, there's no way they planned for that to happen. There's no way the members of that band thought that was going to go down.
Oh, no, they're
impossible.
from like rural Quebec. They're just like, like,
I got the next hit thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Microtonal, jazzy, looping,
like
no vocals.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's chaotic. Yeah, it's cool. Like,
it's honest. There's no way it's not honest.
I think now that's how, not to ever like think, like, not to put us in any sort of category of that degree, but like, I think one of the good things about this project is that it's like what I said earlier. Like, someone was like, I don't know what you sound like. It's like a lot of people will be like, oh, screw them, like they don't know what they're talking about. But it's like, we're like, oh, I like that, because to me, it's like, if you don't know if you can't put us in a box, then it creates something like that band you're talking about, where it's like, it's not different, it's familiar, but it's like, it's this new thing, right? So I don't know, I think that's powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it comes back to the feeling, which it sounds like, I mean, we talked about that earlier. It's more feeling and spiritual based.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's only so many chords anyway. So if the same chords have been played a trillion times, it must be the feeling that really makes something connect with the listener.
Yeah,
Totally.
absolutely.
Yeah. So we've been chatting for like an hour or more, believe it or not.
Nice.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that flew by.
Yeah. So a new single, I guess by the time this comes out, people will be able to track down that signal. Signal. Maybe it is a signal.
Yeah.
Single. What's the best place for people to snag the music at? Do you have Bandcamp? Do you prefer just streaming? What's your vibe?
It'll be on Bandcamp. It'll be on Spotify. We do have a music video we'll be dropping for it as well, so that will be on YouTube. But yeah, we're going to have it everywhere, so whatever is the most convenient.
Cool. Life on Mars.
You'll be able to find it.
Life on Mars.
Life on Mars.
You'll hitting the road. This will be out before the tour, so...
This will be, yeah. By, I don't know when this airs, but tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah, should be up tomorrow.
The song will be up tomorrow?
Yeah.
What about the tour? You got a tour coming up too, right?
Yeah, that starts in a couple weeks. Next week.
Yeah,
Next week?
We're setting it off with a show with Ivy Tide, who is a band from Montreal. And
they're awesome.
They're super awesome. Okay. And so we'll be playing with them at Five and Dime next Thursday, April 30th.
Yeah.
April 30th. So that's kind of the start off for it. We're kicking it off with that show. We're going to Edmundston the next day. And then the following week, I think we're doing... I think it's like Bathurst, Halifax, Miramichi, Edmundston. Yeah, so
it's a nice little maritime. Well, not everywhere's, but like nice little run.
You know, back when I was touring, which is like 15 years ago, but like northern New Brunswick was just a no-show. Like there's just nothing. But now I constantly hear people say Bathurst, Miramichi, Edmundston.
Man,
I see that in the lineup.
There's a vibe going on in those places, especially Bathurst. Like we play
especially Bathurst. Yeah, it's growing a lot there.
Some of our biggest shows have been in Bathurst. It's like there is. I think it's like with a lot of those small towns. It's like now. I think even now, more with AI and everything the way the world's going.
Yeah,
live music is being more, especially in the coming years, is going to be more and more craved.
Yeah,
and I think especially in those small little communities, like I think there's not much shows that they get. So whenever something happens, everyone comes out. You know, there's one bar that all those shows go to, so it's like everyone goes. And I think there's a lot of people that, and because in small towns there's music lovers just like there is in bigger cities. So it's like, yeah, it's powerful. Yeah, really cool to see.
And live performance, like you see with your own eyes, so you know it's real.
Yeah,
you know you're not getting halfway through a video being like, something feels weird all of a sudden.
You can't AI that.
Yeah,
no, and there's a shift with that, right? Like, you know, electronic dance music, right? Like that's been going boom, 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 boom. That's still going that way, but it's like now the younger kids are like, oh, you know, like I want to see a guitar, you know, like whereas the younger kids a few years ago were they just wanted to, you know, listen to DJs.
Yeah.
So it's like there is going back to the CDs we're talking about. Like it's cool to see that live music is going back to, or young people going back to like wanting to see music.
Yeah, and coming from DJing, like I can even say in the DJ world, you're seeing a lot more instrumentation being put into that, and I think that's a combination of, you know, the DJ producers wanting to add more stuff to it and make it more fun for them, as well as the crowd wants it too. They want to see, you know, a guitarist come out and rip a solo over, you know, a song that a DJ produced. It creates more of that you know, that visual simulation, right? It can get a bit old when you're watching a dude play the turntables and you can't see exactly what he's doing, and so really you're connecting with him, but you're not connecting with what he's doing.
Yep.
But when you have someone up front playing guitar, you could not know a single thing about guitar at all, right? But you can see someone crush a solo and be like, "That's gifted," right?
Yeah.
So it creates that connection with the crowd when they get to see that.
Okay.
And so I think a lot of DJs are realizing that, like, people want to connect with me, you know, with my performance more, and by doing that and bringing in instrumentation, it creates that ability.
And the community, right? Like the whole community. Like I love how music now, like some of the biggest artists, it's based on the community that they're in. They're you know they're making sure everyone gets their flowers. And I think we're personally, I was saying this to Kyle the other day, I was like, I think that we're about to see the most exciting time in music that we've ever seen in the coming years, because I think we're starting to see the electronic world come in with the acoustic world, you know, and like in coming together. And I think we haven't seen anything like that where it's, and again, the healthy ego is like our band doing, you know, having both those worlds in it is like, we're coming up in this time where there's going to be a moment where there's like electronic and and live bands together, and it's, you know what I mean? Like even music festivals, it's like there's a lot of music festivals like Evolve and like Folly Fest and like local festivals, you know, and there's both bands all day, DJs at night, whatever, you know, and then it sort of went to like, okay, this is an electronic festival, this is a folk festival.
Yeah.
Now it's like we're gonna see stuff has both of them, and guess what that means? More people are gonna come because you're gonna double your size, and the electronic world can grow, keep growing, and the rock world can keep growing, and come together. And yeah, I think it's a really exciting time for music.
Yeah.
That's one of the benefits. I meant to wrap it up, but now this has kind of just sparked something I wouldn't mind touching on. Is that's one of the benefits of the algorithms or like the streaming, the access to music, is that people, they don't just stay within the genres they're used to listening to. Like when they go to the record store and they look at the genre and that's where they pick from. They hear this different kind of music, and if they get a feeling from it, they stick to that artist or that song. And then all of a sudden they're going from like a EDM tune to like a country tune. And maybe that probably never would have happened just because for whatever reason people seem to like stay in their lane when they're discovering music.
It's awesome to see. And you're seeing, and again with like I'm hopeful for the youth, you know, because it's like they're now wanting that. They're wanting like, you know, it's not just one world, you know what I mean? So it's cool. Really exciting time.
And to be honest, that's what got me into Lights, is that I didn't know much about her at all, and I saw her do an acoustic performance of a tune with a cello, and I was like, I thought she was an electronic artist or whatever, pop artist. And then I was like, this song is unbelievable. And then I listened to the fully produced version, and then I found out she kind of does parallel albums. Like she'll do her pop records, and then she'll kind of rewrite everything and re-record it as like an acoustic type record. And that like blew my mind. I was like, she's putting out parallel records here? This is crazy. And then from there, like it totally changed the way I listened to pop music or EDM music, and like totally flipped the switch in my brain. But
they say, I don't know who they would be, but you know what I mean? Like they say the greatest songs are the ones that you can play in, you know, in any genre of music. Like you could have a folk version of the song, you'd have a punk version. Like, you know what I mean? If that song, if that song can be played in so many different genres, then it's like you got a good song on your hands.
When the guts are good.
Yeah, when the guts
are good.
Yeah,
that's a perfect way to
not
put
like
it.
our van.
The guts are bad.
The guts are bad.
That's all right. NBCC will get it all fixed up for you.
Yeah.
NBCC.
We'll put an NBC sticker on it.
Yeah, there you go.
So we don't get broken into on the road.
At the end of
this is just, you know, tools in here.
Well, they're expensive. They're kind of pricey.
Yeah,
too.
you're right.
But wait, you could pass out like application forms, or you know what I mean? Like at your shows, you can be like, hey, check out NBCC.
Yeah, they just think it's pamphlets in there.
Yeah. Sponsored by NBCC.
Yeah.
Higher education. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys. That was a really fun chat.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this has been fun, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
Come
anytime.
and do some tunes for you or something.
Yeah, that would be wicked. Yeah, we're sitting in local FM right now, so right on the other side of the wall. Listeners, I know you can see with your, is that telekinesis? No.
Telekinesis?
Anyway, they'll have a spiritual vision.
Exactly.
Chug some ayahuasca, close your eyes, and you'll be at local FM. And yeah, maybe next time you guys will be on the other side of the wall cranking some tunes.
That would be sick.
Sweet. All right, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. And we'll do this again soon.
Cheers.
Thanks, man. Cheers.